Hey guys, welcome to Against United. Welcome to another video. And today it's time to talk about Mbappe, about the incident that Mbappe had with Tuchel over the win of Paris Saint-Germain 5-0 to Montpellier. And there's things to discuss always in world football. I wanted to, deviate a little bit, but not really with Barcelona. Also, really quickly to mention the travesty that was that yellow card given to Neymar for showboating. You guys know I'm not like Neymar's biggest fan or anything, but it is a ridiculous thing that he got a yellow card for it, or like for arguing. Like, I don't know, it's ridiculous. But going back to the topic, Mbappe, was subbed off by Tuchel after being winning 5-0, probably wanting to rest the player to not want to get him injured or anything. And something very understandable, right? Because, you're winning 5-0, the game is all but done, you probably don't want to get your star player injured, and that's something understandable from Tuchel. Well, Mbappe went ahead and had a very, very childish reaction to it, I have to say. And I know that, French people are going to be very, annoyed, very... They're gonna be giving reason to Mbappe that he's a star player. Let him score some goals. Let him it's all good and that. But the thing is that the coach maximum responsibility is not to think about a player's individuality to shine, but for the team. And what happens if all of a sudden Mbappe gets tackled, gets injured, and misses the rest of the season just because he wanted to stay to possibly score a few more goals? That doesn't benefit the team at all. So this attitude that Mbappe is having at 21 years old already makes me think that I don't think that really Mbappe is going to be, but at least with this attitude, I'm pretty sure Mbappe is not going to be the player that he could potentially be. That he's going to fall to the wayside. Like, he's always going to be, he's actually going to be similar to that Neymar mold, where he's like, I know a lot of people consider Neymar to be one of the best players in history and all this and this and that. He's one of the best players in the world for sure at his best level. But Mbappe's probably gonna follow, and it's gonna be always the what could have been. What could have been if he was more professional? What could have been if he was more disciplined? And the thing is that at this moment in time, I don't want Barcelona to go for Mbappe anymore. And I mean it in the most respectful way, in the most logical way. The thing is that if there's an option to sign Mbappe for cheap, like for a 50, 100 million euros ish, like not that that's cheap, but like, for a reasonable price for the player, okay, go ahead and try to sign him. But talk to the player, be sure that he's not going to be acting out or things like that, that he's going to give the coach the respect that he needs to be able to lead the project. But I don't want Barcelona to go for Mbappe anymore. Like, I thought before that Mbappe was, the marquee signing that Barcelona needed. Like, go ahead and sign him by any means necessary. He is going to give you 10 years of excellence. But at this point in time, I don't think that Mbappe is going to even last you 5 or 6 years. I'll give him that tops at his best level, or at a good level. Because this is the kind of attitudes I've seen them before. I've seen them before in the likes of Ronaldinho, Neymar, that they shine for a couple seasons, that they are the best performances for those couple years, but then they fall down. They start, thinking, oh, I've won the World Cup, I've won maybe a Champions League in 3 years' time or something like that. But now I've won everything, I'm too good, everyone loves me, everyone thinks that I'm amazing. And they start to be cocky and they start to loosen the performances. And that's why something, for example, that you have to give merit to both Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo is that they're always competing at 100%. They're always giving 100% in every season. They're never, if they score 3, they want to score 4. If they score 4, they want to score 5. Always. It's always the same thing with those two. And the thing is that I don't want Barca to go for Mbappe anymore. I think that for the money that it would cost, for the problems that he would probably bring in, It's just someone that I don't think that we should bring in to Barcelona. I think it's gonna be a toxic mentality to Barcelona, and I would rather go for the players really quickly. If I had to think about other like forwards that Barcelona should sign, we should go maybe for Lozano, Anthony Martial, Lautaro, Richarlison, Timo Werner, Leroy Sané, Mikel Oyarzabal, players like that, players of doubtful. Like, are they as good as Mbappe? Individually wise, probably not. But are they going to be players that are probably going to be more professional than Mbappe? Probably, most likely. And do I rather have a player that's going to be always a 7, 8 out of 10 for 8 to 10 years, or a player that's going to be, you know, sometimes a 10, sometimes 8, sometimes even a 3 or a 4, and consistently throughout the next 5 or 6 years? Well, I don't think so. I think that consistency is probably the hardest thing to have in football, and I just don't think that Mbappe is going to be consistent. Like, when you're doing that to your coach at 21, that means that you've completely lost the north. You've lost all sense of what needs to happen, who is the leader of a project. And it seems like, to me, if Tuchel doesn't reach the semi-finals of the Champions League, he's gonna get sacked. You know, even if he loses in a very, you know, honorable way, he's gonna get sacked. Why? Because it's clear to me that those players are still the leaders of the project. You have the likes of Neymar, Mbappe, Thiago Silva, Verratti, and if they don't like Tuchel, they're gonna get him sacked, and that's gonna be that. It's gonna be something very, very hard to see, because I think Tuchel is a really good manager. But that's what you have when you build your club around superstars, just like this and that, and like just bringing in players just for the sake of it. And we'll see what's gonna happen. Definitely, I was, to a point, I wasn't surprised, because not long ago, for example, one of the examples from last season was that Salah being annoyed when Firmino, I remember Salah throwing out a water bottle to the ground in a very like angry manner just because Firmino scored a winning goal against PSG in the Champions League. Or like when Griezmann last season, when he was at Athletic Madrid, said that I sit at the same table of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, which is a travesty, because the only player that could even come close to sit at the table of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo is Luis Suarez over the past 10 seasons. And that's another point that I wanted to touch. For everything that I criticize Neymar for, and for everything that I say Mbappe is one of the biggest talents of this generation, Mbappe, I think, needs to look back and see what the reality is. And the reality is that out of 100%, every player giving 100% of their performances, Messi is well ahead of everyone else by a country mile. Then you have the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Luis Suarez, who are other players who are going to give you performances out of this world. And then you have players that are in that third level, which are Hazard, the likes of Neymar, the likes of Lewandowski, Agüero, like players like that. I might be forgetting some players. I haven't mentioned everyone. And then in another level is players like Mbappe. Like, I still think that players like Neymar at 100%, Hazard 100%, Lewandowski, Agüero, at least forward-wise, they're still better than Mbappe. Mbappe still has things to develop. He's a magnificent player, don't get me wrong. But I think he has to, you know, drop back to earth, realize that he's still not the best, not by long, especially with Messi in it. And if you're not the best, what are you doing being having all these weird attitudes that are not benefiting anyone at any point? I just think that it will be a shame if we don't get to see a player like Mbappe succeed, because I think that he has the talent to be successful. But what are you gonna do when, like, I just don't understand it. It's very weird to me. I wish that Mbappe, you know, recognizes that he's wrong, apologizes in public or something like that, and then maybe some humility would be good, and then maybe we could consider signing Mbappe again. I just hope that the board don't consider spending on Mbappe, especially for that money that he's gonna cost. He's gonna cost nearly to 250 to 300 million euros, I'm pretty sure. So don't lose the north. Consider attributes like mentally and psychologically especially are very important for players to succeed. I'd rather have a Lozano, an Irving Lozano that's always going to give you an 8 out of 10, at least in intensity and in concentration, than Mbappe, who could be a 10 out of here, it could be an 8 sometimes, it could maybe be a 3 or a 4. Like, I don't want players like that. I want players that are going to be consistent most of the time, because those are normally the best players in history. The best players in history were not always 10s out of 10. They were, for the most part, players that were always a 7, an 8. And that's why, for example, a player like Pedro, for me, has been more successful in football than Neymar. And yes, I'm saying it. I'm saying Pedro, in terms of what he's won for football-wise, has been more than Neymar because he's been more professional, because he's been more consistent than Neymar. Pedro has always been at least a 7 out of 10. Neymar can be a 10 out of 10 sometimes, can be a 9 out of 10 sometimes, can be a 1 or 2 out of 10 some other times. And that's why consistency is the most important thing in world football. But anyways, what do you guys think about the Mbappe situation? Do you think that we should sign Mbappe? Do you think that we should opt against it? Leave me all your opinions in the comment section below. Comment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next one, Blaugranas.